Let me just say this real quick, is that preparation plus opportunity equals success.
Right.
Being able to identify your why is so important for men. Being able to identify what gets you up in the morning, what makes you tick, is one of the most important questions, yet one of the most difficult questions that men need to define. Okay, so I wanted you to pause right here, because what you said is that, you know, essentially, you and your girl, you talk about how you start stuff up, but then, you know, you might stop a little bit early and you don't have an idea in regards to if you should have stopped early, was that it now? The step before that is being able to understand, well, what is it that you want? And it's going to sound very basic to you. But being able to identify what gets you up in the morning, what makes you tick, is one of the most important questions, yet one of the most difficult questions that men need to define. And the reason why I say this is because within my own life, I've always had a North Star. Now, my North Star, my particular direction towards that North Star, it has swayed at certain junctions. But I've remained on path through the goals that I've had within my life because of the image that I had of myself at the North Star. Now, there has been times where I've reached the North Star and I'm like, oh yeah, this is pretty cool. You know what I'm saying? But now either I get tired of it, I get sick of it, or I've essentially cleaned that goal clean, right? And there's nothing else in it for me. It leaves me empty inside. So then I try to figure out a new North Star, right?
One second.
Yeah,
One second. When you say clean that goal clean, elaborate on that a little bit. What do you mean by that?
So like, for example, and thank you for slowing this down, because it made sense in my mind, but repeating it, I'm like, okay. So like, for example, my goal when I was in undergrad, and this is a month past my red pill awakening, right? And I've talked on the channel what happened to me at that time, right? Chick cheated on me, told me she had cancer, but she was fucking lying. What a whore. Nevertheless, so at that junction, I decided within myself, I want to be as successful as what I possibly can be. Now, I will say I was 19-ish years, 20-ish years old at the time, and I was absolutely simping for this young lady. I had rose-colored glasses on, and in my mind, I was actually thinking about getting married that goddamn early. Imagine if I would have gotten married to that whore at 22 years old, right? Now, at the point that I identified, I want to be as successful as what I possibly can, I said to myself, well, what is that? How can I get there, right? And I knew at that time, what was my interest? My interest at that time, I love technology, right? I've always been a tech geek. I've always been a video game player. I've always been like me and my dad, we used to just take trips out to Comp USA and just look at all the computers and shit like that. And then also, I knew that I liked business. I knew that I liked economics, right? So I took those two, and I switched my major to a major that combined both business as well as technology, which at the time was called Management Information Systems. Now, this is 20-something years ago, and they probably changed the name of it by now. But it was literally the perfect degree for me to scratch both itches. Now, I didn't know what I was going to do up until I had this awakening, right? But because I had this awakening, now that was my North Star. I completed the undergraduate degree, and I got an internship at JP Chase Bank, being essentially utilizing my exact degree, which is not something a lot of people within college can say. Now, flash forward, because I'm going to skip a lot of different steps within that, because I've had a multitude of different like changes within my North Star. Within that, I was like 30 or so years old. All right, like flash forward another 10 years, 30 or so years old. I began to get bored. I was working at Nationwide Insurance I think I was in a digital, I was like a digital product manager at Nationwide Insurance. I began to get bored. Then I started a hobby, and within one of my hobbies was to upload videos to the internet, right? So previously I had a North Star of being a businessman. Then I began to get bored, and also within consideration that I didn't want to go up to like another level and begin to have to manage people that I don't like. And that was literally the next step, right? So I identified that I didn't want to do that. And then what I said is that, let me try other things. Let me try to see if I like anything else within this world so I can create a different North Star. Now, I maintain my job, right? But it's not about at that time my 9 to 5. It was about my 5 to 9. It was about what I was doing after my job in order. And at that time, I stopped playing video games, right? I stopped watching TV, right? I went radio silent and dead on all of my social medias, and I became a hobbyist. And I tried everything. I had a drum set in my crib, right? I started a photography business. I tried playing the guitar as well. I tried all of these different things in order to try to figure out what else. And then I tried this thing where I turned around the camera. Instead of taking photos of other people, I took videos of myself. So at that point, when I did that, I became addicted. And it wasn't about that I can make this into a business one day. It was that I loved to do it. I loved because it involved the technology, the hardware of technology, it involved the software of creating something, right? From Adobe Premiere to Adobe Photoshop, right? Like I had to learn all this stuff. I didn't know how to use any of this stuff, right? And it also involves something that people have always told me that they thought I'd be good at, which is like talking in front of a microphone. My mama used to tell me, you should be in news. My mama used to tell me that shit back in the day, right? But I was back office. I was corporate office, right? Throughout my career. So I just started just doing this. And then eventually, after figuring it out, little bit by little bit, right? And uploading, skipping out on weekends. Friends would be like, yo, do you want to go out to, I'd be like, no, I gotta be doing, and they'd be looking at me like I'm crazy. Like, wait, you're doing what? And then some of them that I thought were friends were like, oh, you talking about that little old YouTube channel that you got? Get them the fuck out the way, right? There's no positives with your hating ass staying in and around what it is that I'm trying to create. So essentially, I'm giving you a long story, but I'm essentially trying to, just based off of a simple question, but I essentially got to one North Star, and then I felt empty. It was clean. It was wiped clean of everything that I needed.
Question.
And then I moved. What's up?
Yeah. One question. How did it feel, and when did you know that you hit your North Star? What was that thing that made you say, I'm here, accomplish it, and what did it feel like for you?
How I knew that it wasn't for me is that, let me say it like this. Every year around December, sometimes I start in November. Sometimes it starts right after Thanksgiving. I write down I got a note in my phone, and I call it my manifesto, and then I put the year after it. So my manifesto, essentially the goal that I'm trying to accomplish is, what do I need to do next year? What are my goals? What are the opportunities that I need to work on? That's going to ensure happiness into the future. Now, what I wrote down that year that I tried YouTube is that, do I really see myself continuing to go up within corporate America? Do I really see myself contributing my talents to another person's company, knowing that everything that I do here, what of it will be on my tombstone one day? Let's say I was to die today. What would I want to be known for? And those existential questions bothered me. Along with, I identified that, again, because I consider myself an affable person. I love people, but I don't love people that I don't like. So for me, I considered that, okay, I can be a team lead, I can be a manager, and I'd be good at it. And at the time that I considered that, it's only because I was thinking about managing people that I like. But as a manager, you have to think about being able to manage people that you don't like.
Right.
I think in consideration of those different things, I was like, damn, I might need to figure out something else. And then also at the time we were going through reorganizations, within, you were just going through corporate reorganizations. So I felt more pressure that I don't know where this is going to go. So it was a little bit of pressure, outside pressure as well, that had nothing to do with kind of my manifesto goals. But I just felt like at that time, my time was going to be better used figuring this out, as opposed to consuming other people's creations, other people's entertainments.
I feel like that I do a lot of that. And you know what? Why
Mm,
guy like you, Kevin Samuels, O'Shea, speak to me, because it's the same thing I talk about modern women and the bullshit.
mm,
And I've like started a channel, and that was something I started and stopped, and it was kind of building. It's called Masculine Revolution.
mm-hmm.
And when I speak about that, and everybody can say, there's so much passion when I speak about it than when I speak about everything else. Even in the trucking industry, the energy is not there. But when I talk to modern women in the bullshit, even my girl is saying, why are you so strong about that? And it's something
Yeah.
I don't know, but I know that that's something I can speak to. And I'm
Yeah.
just trying to get my channel going. But my thing is, man, is just to keep on going, and keep on going because, I know I can make it, but that's something inside of me that I'm still trying to figure out. So hearing your story to me can, and why I ask you, how did you feel? And when you met your North Star was basically giving me an idea of, what it is.
Let me just say this real quick, is that preparation plus opportunity equals success.
She belongs to the street.
Girl, don't hold my hand. You a mattress actress on the OnlyFans. Get your money, girl, but damn, how is that your only plan? What you gonna do when you get too old to strip and dance? Get up out your echo chamber screaming period and yes. You a low down dirty woman if you try to get knocked up by a high value man.